Hello, everybody. Welcome. Look who's here.
You say that like I'm not usually here on a Friday.
It's Eleanor Goldfield. The always amazing Eleanor Goldfield.
Where's my coffee? Okay.
Where's the coffee? The coffee's gonna make it all right. All right, we have a killer, a banger, as the kids say, of a show.
What the kids say. Any kids on here
Any kids?
can confirm that that's not what the kids say.
Loads of kids watch this show. We're gonna talk about how liberalism is dead or dying. We're gonna get into that and why it always ends up in fascism. Why is that? Why is it liberalism always ends up at the fascism dead end? We're gonna get into how the shutdown is threatening or is causing a health crisis. We got so much more. Israel has targeted more than 270,000 people. We're going to get into the new map of Gaza, of just how much Israel is has stolen, is occupying. I mean, it says stolen. It sounds like Jared Kushner's ready to put a fucking casino there. So all of that and more coming up right now. Please click thumbs up and share and all those good things. And let's do it. I'm starting off with a video. Don't usually start off with a video, but I'm going to do it this week. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the professor who is speaking here, but this is...
Doesn't say it in the video?
Where was no, it says whose podcast it is, Michael Mez. But anyway, but great analysis of why liberalism is such a catastrophe and always seems to end in the same place. So we'll maybe pause this a little as we go and talk about it, but
liberalism is actually dead. What do you mean?
It's an interesting political ideology where basically it's got two major commitments. On the one hand, it has a commitments to things like human rights, the rule of law, individual freedoms, even things like a little bit of welfare and let's say ecological protection and things like that.
And he means, as it goes on, it becomes kind of clear, he means like ostensibly like human rights. The idea behind liberalism is that it will respect human rights, etc. So it doesn't necessarily mean they always do that, but it's the idea.
Sounds great. At the same time, liberalism is committed to capitalism. And this is essential to liberal ideology, is that ultimately they are committed to the processes of ensuring that production is controlled by capital and maintaining the conditions for capital accumulation. The problem here is that when these things come into conflicts, then liberal leaders will resolve the contradictions in favor of capital accumulation. And this is what explains the fact that liberals have this reputation of being hypocrites. They're full of spectacular contradictions. You get people who are committed to things like liberal rights and etc., then openly backing a genocide.
This is my point of the analogy that I have of there are two situations. One, both are somebody tells you there's a murderer in your house, right? That's trying to kill you. And Democrats respond or liberals respond with, oh my God, you're so right, there is. And then they go and sit down on the couch and eat popcorn. The right says, you're full of shit, that's not true. And they go sit down and have popcorn. Which one of those reactions is more psychotic? It's way more psychotic to agree that a genocide's happening or that ecocide is happening and do nothing about it than to just flatly refuse to accept that that's happening. So this it's not just hypocritical, it's psychotic.
Yeah, it's hypocritical and psychotic. It comes off as schizophrenic. It comes off as not believing the actual values, which when push comes to shove, they don't. Because it may be, you may talk to a lot of liberals who genuinely, and I mean authentically, believe in human rights. But then you say, well, what about what's going on in Gaza? And they suddenly abandon that stance of human rights or caring about humanity or war crimes or whatever. And then it's like, well, so I guess you don't actually believe in anything. It constantly, the so-called worldview is evaporating every time you push them on it.
Well, and as he rightly points out, you do believe in something. You believe in the status quo. You believe in capitalism. You believe in the perpetuation of, the United States as an apartheid state. Really, it is what it is, if we're being honest. And you, as an oppressive project, you just want to make it seem like it's not by throwing some some non-white people into Biden's cabinet or something.
Yeah, it's I called it on one of my comedy specials. I called it woke washing. It's amazing the crimes that can be woke washed just by making the spokesperson, a black woman or something. It's like, oh, well, now war crimes don't count. It's being told to us by a black woman. Okay, so let's continue with what he's saying here.
Committed to things like liberal rights and etc., then openly backing a genocide. Like, what is anyone supposed to make of that? I mean, this is a very severe contradiction. And then what happens is that, crucially, liberals are anti-socialist. And so they'll do everything possible to crush actual progressive socialist movements.
Why is that? Why are liberals anti-socialist?
Because of their ultimate, most important commitment, which is to capital accumulation. They will never let that be threatened. And that's why we saw, like, when somebody as beloved as Bernie Sanders was a few years ago in the primaries, they had to band together and crush him. Now, this is interesting because when you're crushing socialist movements and you're ultimately also yourself crumbling and failing, then what does that do? It leaves the political vacuum open to who? The far right, right? And so liberalism gives way to fascism over and over and over. It's like clockwork. Fascists, their core principle also is capital accumulation, right? But they just dispense with the liberal values.
And this is also because capital accumulation is the goal of both of these political philosophies. You see so much cooperation between them. It's why the so-called liberal United States was so quick to partner with Nazis post-World War II, and in a variety of ways, bringing their scientists over, the Operation Gladio in Europe, etc. There's a long history of partnering with fascists because the end goal is the same: stop the socialist and accumulate the capital.
Mm-hmm.
And so liberals were actually more comfortable handing power over to the far right because they're confident that at least capital is going to be protected than they are handing power to socialists who will maintain their liberal values of rule of law and rights and things like that, but will not protect capital accumulation. And this is why we see this constant back and forth between the far right liberals, the far right liberals. The fascists take control, they create total social chaos. Everyone's like, this is far too extreme for us. Let's go for that safe center option again. They vote for the liberals, liberals come back into power, rinse and repeat over and over.
And sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and the thing that puts a clock on that, why that can't just keep going on forever, is environmental collapse, environmental destruction. If both of these two sides are working for a capital accumulation, endless consumerism, endless capitalism on a finite planet, we are pushing towards full environmental collapse. And you just keep going back between these two things, both of which are pushing towards full environmental collapse. There is never allowed to be something outside of just full environmental collapse. It puts a kind of a timestamp on the whole thing.
And this is something, and I'm not trying to, say that this guy is derivative or anything. I just think that
everybody's derivative.
No, I know.
We all got our stuff from somewhere else.
I was going to say that if you'd shut up.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no such thing as a new idea, just new ways of hearing them. But
I was
this
the first
is
one who said that, though.
Something that Noam Chomsky has talked about, that neoliberalism always leads to fascism. And basically that the continued, you can see this if you go to like the not even all the southern states, but places like Kentucky or Tennessee, which, I mean, they're Southish, right? So if you talk to people, and I mean, when I went to Louisiana, which is definitely the South, there were people there who were like, I just don't trust the Democrats. They've let me down too many times. Because again, it is a psychotic thing to look someone in the eye and say, I want to help you, and then do all of the things to not help them. Whereas, the Republican Party, they never say they want to help you. So it's like, well, I'm going to go with the person who hasn't flat out stabbed me in the back because I only have two options. That's the other thing, right? And so, like, legitimate, you only have two options inside the purview of electoralism. So people are understandably not going to vote for the people who have continued to show, as this professor or person points out, it just continue to let you down. I mean, that makes you also psychotic. You're now sitting next to them on the couch eating popcorn, being like, yeah, there is a murder in the house, but popcorn isn't going to eat itself. It's like, it is buying into that psychosis. And so this is also that that next step of like, well, then actually changing the system has to come from outside electoralism. Also, because the point that maybe they got to outside of this particular clip is that socialism or anything that's left of Democrat, which is center right at this point, you know, nothing left of that will ever get purchase inside the electoral system. So the idea that you could elect someone that actually would act on the needs of the people and the needs of the ecosystems that are dying and failing is absurd, because that would mean that you're voting against the system itself, and the system won't allow you to do that. So I think that's the other, you know, that's the next layer of this conversation.
Yeah, and as has also been said by many people like Chomsky, if you have really, angry, passionate debate within a tiny window, people will assume that those must be two very different views on the world. Whereas, as was just spoken to, they're actually essentially the same views on the world: capital accumulation above all else. So you end up with these two people yelling at each other, CNN, back and forth, or Fox News or something. You're allowing immigrants in to destroy the country. Immigrants should have rights too. They get very angry at each other on whatever topic. Trans athletes they throw a pole vault too far. Whatever. You get very angry, and people assume, well, these are clearly worlds apart, when in fact it's all taking place inside this tiny window of allowable thought, this tiny Overton window. And as long as you're inside that, we're never going outside to the actual ideas that could actually change our future, create a livable world, create a sustainable world, create a world that's perfect, or at least good, for not perfect, but good for everybody. All of those things are just never even considered, because you're yelling angrily inside the Overton window. Thank you so much for Nadia for support. Thank you so much, Nadia, for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. I do not frown upon Super Chats. Super Chats are helping keep this show going. So thank you so much. And if I will sing a song and dance if we just get $1,000 of Super Chats. I had to set it high so that.
Yeah, no one wants to hear you sing.
I know that's true. I know it's true. All right, we are going to move on, but I just felt, and as we continue, it'll never stop. As we continue to argue about electoralism in this country, it's good to keep what was just said in mind about what liberalism and fascism, what they have in common, why they work together, etc.
Well, and also, like he was saying, that they find it far more egregious to consider somebody, and Bernie Sanders not socialist. Let's just again, anyone left of center right, they consider that more egregious to have someone like that in the Oval Office than a literal fascist. So just keep that in mind,
Yeah, very true. I was going to go to this next, but I don't know what article that is.
Oh, that was me finding Chomsky quotes about
neoliberalism
leading to fascism.
Let's move on. Then please click thumbs up, go leave a comment, all that good stuff. Let's move on to how the shutdown is threatening the food aid for 42 million people, and also heading towards a health crisis.
Yeah. So SNAP food, like food stamps, whatever you want to call them. About 42 million people in the US get food assistance, and they are now in danger of losing that paltry assistance. And I say paltry because I can't scoot because
I'd love to see you during like a play on a theater.
Hey, I did theater.
Did you? And if someone said like, you're stepping on my cape, where you're like,
well,
what? I'm stepping on your cape? I am not stepping on his cape.
The difference is that you have rehearsals to ensure that you're blocking and making sure that you're not stepping on anybody's fucking cape.
We've had 100 episodes. We do not have
rehearsals to make sure that your awkward ass chair is not up my ass, so I can actually have some room here.
That's actually my awkward ass. So go ahead.
Okay. So am I okay now?
You're okay now.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay. So 42 million people. That's 1 in 8 US residents get an average of $187 a month. I told you it was paltry. $187 a month. Has anybody been to the grocery store in the past? Oh, I don't know, like year? $187 for like one trip is not enough unless you live alone and you're on like the Machinist diet. That's a movie. If you don't get the reference, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But
Google Christian Bale Machinist next to Christian Bale as Dick Cheney. It'll blow your mind.
Dude, and I don't understand how the human body, like so $187 a month. And this also goes to show you how so many people are like barely hanging on in this country. Because $187 a month does make a difference to millions of people in this country. And therefore, it is absurd to think how many people are actually living under the poverty line if we had a poverty line that doesn't consistently move to try to ensure that we don't have people, quote unquote, living in poverty. Because of course, that's what we do in this country, right? We move the poverty line. So now, well, I don't even remember what it's at now, but it's something absurd. Like, oh, $20,000 a year for a family of 4. And you're like, the what now?
And then they throw a ticker tape parade saying that they decreased poverty by 10 million people. Yeah, because you just changed the definition.
So, so basically there are, and of course, $187 a month is the average. So some people get more than that, for food stamps. And this is critical to ensure that people actually have food to eat. And this also, of course, affects people's ability to then pay rent, to pay for necessary health care or things like that. Meanwhile,
well, we've got to send the money to Argentina.
Meanwhile, things like ICE or, I don't know, the billions of dollars that the United States is sending to Israel to perpetuate genocide and ethnic cleansing, that's not getting cut. The stuff that's getting cut is food stamps, and we'll get to healthcare in a second, but people are literally going to be starving. And I do what you will with this information, but I would just like to point out that one of the main events that really kicked off the French Revolution was the fact that people were starving, and women, in fact, started a march to Versailles. And they marched to Versailles and they basically demanded some kind of change. And this was really like what kicked off, a lot of people say, that kicked off the French Revolution. So bread and roses, the lack of food, hunger is a hell of a catalyst. Do what you will with that information, but historically, this is something that catalyzes people in really dark ways, but it could also be a good thing. I'm not saying that hunger is a good thing.
Hunger is a hell of a motivator.
Yeah, but I think that, I think this is also a moment to highlight that like the hits will keep coming. So, and this is a point that I want to get to as well, but this is not like, oh, well, they're going to cut food stamps and then they'll stop, right? Then they'll stop trying to, dig that knife of oppression deeper. No, it'll continue. So then the question becomes, how much do we take before there's pushback, like legitimate pushback? I don't mean a No Kings protest. I'm not going to go off on that because I think that.
But they put a sign in the front yard that says, "Not my president." That should do it. Will that not do it?
I have a Substack on why parades don't matter. Please do check that out. EleanorGoldfield.substack.com. I'm not going to go off on a tangent right now because we really don't have the time, but just wanted to throw that out there again, and how this kind of ricochets. In this article, they spoke to a woman a senior citizen who lives outside of Pittsburgh, can't afford to pay gas, electric, can't pay the monthly car payment, can't pay to go to the doctor's appointment, can't help out her niece or her mother. So this this is not just about like, oh, I can't afford my favorite chocolates this month. Bummer. Like this is literally about whether people can eat.
Because they're all
and then
eating
it
avocado
ricochets.
toast.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's all avocado toast.
It's avocado toasts and new iPhones.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Because you can use Snap to buy an iPhone.
Yeah, most people don't know that.
So I don't know what the fuck that's about. So just one more point.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people on SNAP benefits, children, working people, older Americans, veterans, and people with disabilities. You know that saying that you can judge a government by how it treats the people with the least political power, or the people who are most marginalized, or the people who have the least? Well, and again, I'm going to get more into this later, but yeah. So this is. Do
you want this one next?
I just want to make one more point.
Okay.
There's a separate nutrition program for 7 million pregnant women and new parents that's also at risk of running out of money. So that's cool.
It's almost like Trump and his goons don't care about us. I don't know. That could possibly be true. But so should we get into Trump wrecking public health?
Sure. In the second week of October, so like a week or so ago, 1,300 CDC employees were notified of their termination through reduction in force memos. So the CDC has lost roughly a quarter of its workforce. Now, these people, the ones specifically being targeted, include teams dedicated to fighting the growing measles outbreak, which is a thing because of the penis wrinkles like RFK Jr. Pandemic preparedness experts, because why would you need that?
Unclear.
Ebola specialists.
Pandemics are a thing like spittoons. Like they're not. It's something that was in the Wild West.
Be honest, how many people are Googling what a spittoon is right now?
You can't have a pandemic now. That would be ridiculous.
So these are the people that are targeted, that are being targeted by this latest round of reduction in force firings. Because of course, why would we need people working on? And
this also goes to the fact that the ruling elite, the sociopaths at the top of the system, they don't actually care if people survive. In fact, I think there was a time where they needed more people to, work in America and to like make the money that they were stealing at the coal mines and the mills and stuff. But now most of the money is not coming from that type of activity. So I think they're fine with everyone just dying. I think they like the for the poor to die is not really a concern of theirs, but also I think they'd find it probably better if more poor people die.
But this is also, I can't remember that guy's name, but he wrote a book called Short-Term Greed. This was like years and years ago, but Greedy Bastards or something. And he talked about short-term greed versus long-term greed.
Cat in the Hat.
Anyway, it's
Gary Larson.
It's kind of like it's not really critical of capitalism. It's critical of people who are short-term greedy. But what they don't realize here is like, yes, poor people will, of course, as always, that's a constant, bear the brunt of the most shitty policy decisions. But guess what? If you have a measles outbreak in the United States, our healthcare system can't manage it. So rich kids will also die. Like, measles doesn't actually give a shit if you have money because but here's the thing.
You can get better treatments.
You can get better treatment unless, because we saw this during COVID too, right? you had the heads of state getting COVID. Yes, they got better treatment.
And they survived usually.
Yes, but measles is different. Measles is different. And other, if there's an Ebola outbreak, holy shit, but that's the thing, is that it's this short-term greed, right? Where you're thinking, oh, I'll be safe. It's that kind of arrogance. And yes, you will be safer than the rest of us. But an overwhelmed healthcare system in the United States, which is not that difficult to manifest because our healthcare system is already overwhelmed. Anybody who's been to a hospital recently can attest to that. But I mean, it's not like a
true, but I do think they're working to have that not be the case, so that there can be the elite medical care that they can pay for. It's much like with the climate crisis. For a while, they kind of can't run for climate crisis because whole areas of the country are going to burn, but they legit can get in a helicopter. I mean, Ted Cruz flew to Cancun. They legit can fly to other places that people can't do. Most people in America cannot just get up and move whole areas of the country. The rich usually can. So in that way, for now, they can run from climate crisis. Long term, they can't.
However, they can't run from the fact that, for instance, where the fuck did that go? For instance, the World Meteorological Association just warned that levels of carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide have soared to their highest levels in human history. In May, CO2 levels exceeded 430 parts per million. Pre-industrial levels were at 280 parts per million. So you can run from a flood. Where the fuck are you going to get new air? So it's like
they're working on that. They'll find the air.
So it's like, yes, there is, of course, there's nuance, and they will have the better healthcare. They will have the better inhalers or whatever the hell. But it's like, at the end of the day, it is still this short-term greed, right? Which is why it's so fucked. One of the many reasons. But it's like there comes a point where you can't actually outrun all of your shitty decisions, right? You can't actually outrun, and we might be long dead of measles or of nuclear winter or whatever the hell by the time this comes right back around and bites them in the ass. But it eventually will, right? It always does, because you can't win against nature. And you can't, and that includes measles.
Yeah, and until human beings realize that we actually are part of nature, we're actually a thing with it. We're not, we shouldn't try and dominate it. We should work with it because we are part of it and we came out of it. Until we kind of have that realization, we're fucked. Yeah, that's the word. All right, shall we move on to America's homeless?
Was there anything else in that I wanted to talk about? There are other critical public health functions that are at risk by the cuts. Experts on neurodegenerative prion diseases, which include mad cow disease. Remember that?
Oh, does it include RFK's brain parasite?
No, I think that's...
Are any of them experts on that? Because they might be able to tell us what he's going to do next.
The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, responsible for distributing grants to states, that was terminated. Mental health advocates worry about the broader impact that this will cascade downwards through state and local services for mental health care over the coming months, because who in a failing empire who doesn't have enough money to buy food needs mental health care?
I'm not surprised that Trump got rid of the mad cow experts, because there's no way he doesn't have mad cow. Like the amount
mad cow.
of McDonald's that idiot eats, there's no way you go that long without mad cow.
The Office of Population Affairs is targeted as well, because they do STI testing and contraception services provided to millions of low-income people. And of course, this is that classic thing. You're cutting food stamps to pregnant people at the same time that you're ensuring that people have to get pregnant because you're not allowing contraceptives.
Also kind of hilarious, he's stopping STI testing and research, considering I'd say he's like, most of us have not slept with a porn star. But he has, so I feel like it might be something he needs.
Yeah, so those are just some of the things. This is not exhaustive, of course. And at the same time, again, you have the Pentagon trying to, the War Department move things around so they can keep paying the military. You have, of course, ICE continuing to be paid during the government shutdown, the military. And the experts say that this is basically like a government shutdown like no other. One that is seeing the beefing up of what the government sectors that Trump and friends like, involved in deportations and militarisms, while eviscerating agencies and departments involved in providing health services to the U.S. population.
And apparently, according to David Dayen, a lot of this was going on even prior to the shutdown. That he was stopping the funds from going to anything he didn't want it to go to, which is like a partial government shutdown prior to the shutdown. So.
And also, just real quick, kind of circling back to the video that I'm gonna do a callback here.
Okay,
the video that you started with. As somebody pointed out, always worth a reminder that Obama inherited ICE as a fledgling agency, increased its budget 300%, established a nationwide network of detention centers, and expanded the secure communities, not what that is, enforcement program from 14 counties under Bush to all 3,181 jurisdictions in America. So, yeah, that shit started under Bush, but don't ever let them tell you that this is a Republican creation. Oh, no. This is an American collaborative creation.
Also, Tom Homan, the woefully corrupt, what is he now? The border czar, lunatic, racist lunatic, who was caught taking a $50,000 bribe, but that's unrelated. He was first put into office in top of immigrations under Obama. And he was given Obama's top civilian award for being so awesome at stopping immigrants from living okay lives. That was under Obama. Trump liked him so much, he brought him back. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was changing the subject.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
You know what? As I was going to say this till later, but now you've gotten us on the ice path. The ice path.
You know, it sucks because I actually love winter and I love ice. I love ice in my drinks. I love a winter wonderland. And these people are fucking up my appreciation of winter. And I know that that's not as serious as people being kidnapped, but like, I just want to say that that's also one of the many side effects here.
It's right up there. Do not harm Eleanor's winter wonderland.
White people problems.
While we're on the topic of ice, have you ever seen anything as dystopian shit as this? This is the New York Times.
Thanks, New York Times.
How to make sense of the federal forces on your streets.
Sorry, where is the person in plain clothes that has...
Oh, they have it coming up.
Oh, they do? With the skeleton mask?
No, I don't know if they have a skeleton mask, but it does have a mask. But this is the New York Times. For those of you listening to the podcast, they're trying to show the uniforms that these lunatics on your streets wear. It's like there is nothing more fascist than here are the fascist goons on your street. See if you can figure out which is which.
Trade them with your friends.
Let's have a fun game. Dress them up as different things. This is so fucking dystopian. How to make sense of the federal forces on your street? And then they keep having these photos, and it's like photos of people being like basically black bagged, and it's like some of the ICE agents wear vests that say police on them. So not ICE, but they wear them anyway that say police. They also wear vests that seem to say things that make no sense, such as ERO, which is the part of the ICE agency that they work for, which part of ICE they're in. So sometimes they're wearing those camo vests. Other times they'll have on things that I love this. It says police HSI. I thought it said police-ish, which sounds right to me.
I mean, yeah, sure.
It sounds totally legit.
It's just some like neo-Nazi who was like, dude, I'm just gonna be like kind of police-ish today and go kidnap some brown people.
Look, I'm in the realm of police. All right, I'm just gonna say that. This vest says police federal agent. Officers sometimes wear vests that simply say police. Then they get to the plain clothes.
Yeah.
ICE officers sometimes in plain clothes, but they show their badges as they approach this woman to detain her, or they don't.
Or they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy literally looks like he's a cat burglar. Like he's just wearing all black.
Yeah.
And a mask.
Like, yeah. And if you were any rational human on the streets of the United States and a guy wearing all black or 3 people wearing all black and masks come running up to you, you assume these people are here to murder me or they're fucking rob me or what. Like, you don't assume this is some sort of legit federal bullshit. I mean, it's not legit in my mind, but you know what I'm trying to say.
It's legit bullshit.
It's legit bullshit. Let's see. Then we get an ICE special response team, which look like fucking warriors.
Pepperball gun. I like how they're pointing out their less than lethal equipment too. Yeah, that's nice.
A giant pepperball gun, but they certainly may have plenty of real guns as well. Crowd control equipment.
And they're not commenting about the fact that these cowards are all covering their faces.
Yep. Border Patrol tactical teams wear vests that often say Border Patrol, but sometimes just say police.
So again, like they're not mentioning
here's the National Guard.
They're not mentioning that, like, so really they're not identifying themselves. It would be like if I was walking around with Lee's ID, like you can just have something that says police. But you're not, but you can just have the thing that says it, like, and there are no ramifications where if I'm walking around with somebody else's ID or one that I just made up that has a picture of a fucking unicorn on it, like that's not okay. But they can dress wearing something that just says police-ish.
Police-ish.
And be masked and not have to show like this is fucking bullshit.
Here's another one that's a little closer to telling the truth. Police gang unit. They are a gang.
They are.
They're a fucking gang.
They should all say gang.
Police gang unit. Here's federal agents. This one says FBI on her vest.
But then it says load a man into an unmarked car.
Yep.
That's kidnapping.
Yep.
Okay. It's all kidnapping. You don't load. First of all, you don't load a human being into anything. You load like cartons of something. Okay. So the wording there is also meant to dehumanize the person. Like you don't load your baby into the car. You don't load your grandmother onto the plane.
And the latest euphemism that they want everyone to use is they want everyone to start calling it make load to them. They're telling people to say that.
Wait, what?
It was a joke. They make load to them. All right.
I don't get it.
This is a make love joke. Anyway.
Oh.
I'm killing it over here. Oh my God. These are the jokes, folks. So this vest says Secret Service. This one says Homeland Security Officers, whatever the fuck that is.
No, it doesn't say that.
Yeah, no, their vests don't say anything.
Those are just vests that you can buy at like a gun range.
This is Metropolitan Police alongside Homeland Security Officers at a checkpoint. What kind of checkpoint? Where? Checking for what? Go fuck yourselves.
But these kind of checkpoints were all over DC. And they were just like MPD officers setting up checkpoints randomly to stop brown people, right? And they were these guys, like, if y'all have ever been to a Unite the Right rally or some shit, you see people dressed like this.
Dressed exactly
there
the
is
same.
Nothing to indicate that these people are federal law enforcement or just law enforcement in general. They just look like neo-Nazis. I mean, potato, but still.
Because there were plenty of people, especially on January 6th, who were dressed in all camo and had guns. Some of them had zip ties. I mean, they were legit dressed identical to what these so-called federal agents are dressed at. Jeans.
That guy's just wearing a shirt that says Secret Service. I feel like you can buy that on Amazon.
Yes, you can.
It's just a black shirt that says Secret Service.
Here's ICE and Border Patrol on the fucking roof. This is the New York Times telling you what fascism looks like, and they don't find anything odd about it. By the way, if you read the actual writing, it sounds like almost sweet. Often it can be difficult for the public to tell them apart or to understand what powers each agency has. Here's a guide to how these forces are operating, including alongside local law enforcement. Fascism, the more you know.
I also find it disgusting that they have a picture from Broadview. This is an immigration facility, aka concentration camp.
Illinois.
They neglect to point out that this is the same spot. There are agents up on the roof here that then shot a pastor in the head with a pepper ball gun. They neglect to mention that's that same quote unquote protest,
which can cause brain damage,
where a pastor was shot in the head for simply standing there and being like, hey, y'all, this isn't cool. I don't think God would be down with this. And they shot him in the head. And then they were laughing about it as they did it. The New York Times neglects to connect this nice little picture that they made here. They neglect to connect that to the fact that this pastor was shot in the head.
And of course, that can cause brain damage, not just from the shot, but you are likely knocked unconscious, at which point you fall to the ground and hit your head on the concrete. So it can cause, I'm sure it could cause death. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is the primary immigration law enforcement agency in the country, and its officers wear a variety of uniforms and identifiers. Here are some of them.
This sounds like a Fashion Week
It
script.
really does. It's
It's
so fucking dystopian. Wow. And I'm not even saying this. This is them not even like. I'm not even saying they're trying to say positive things about these groups. They just have did. They're showing this as if it's not fascism, as if this is not identical to what fascism looks like.
It's like they're showing you how to identify the new mail carriers or something.
Yeah.
The postal office got new uniforms. Here's how they look. Like, it's just.
All right. I don't want to run out of time for Israel.
Go ahead.
Shall we move on to Israel? Because there's more to cover on that front. So I wanted to show. By the way, everyone, click thumbs up, click subscribe, change the bell to all alerts. It might make a difference. But a lot of people don't realize that Israel still occupies 58% of Gaza. So they have stolen 58% of Gaza. And here's what the map now looks like, according to Israel, which is a crazy amount of Gaza. And to slam all of those people into, they were already in a tiny concentration camp. It was what was it the size of? What's the analogy to in the United States? But anyway, I think all of Israel is the size of New Jersey, right? So this is a tiny little fraction of that. But
it's like 12 miles long.
Yeah.
The Gaza Strip.
Yeah, but it also, the new quote unquote borders also, of course, cut it off from the only exit that was to a country other than Israel. So now Gaza is fully surrounded by Israel. It is like, I don't know, it's so amazingly repulsive, but a lot of people do not realize that, like, not only have they committed genocide, not only have they killed hundreds of thousands, but most of it has now been stolen. And yet we act like, oh no, that's not, or your mainstream media acts like that's not ethnic cleansing. It's like, so basically you ethnically cleansed 58% of Gaza fully, like 100%. You ethnically cleansed it. And shouldn't that be a bit of the discussion? And anyway, they're putting these giant cement yellow things along the border to show everyone where the new border is, because they can't build a wall there that quickly. And if you go past those yellow things, here's a video of them installing these things. If you go past those yellow things, they can shoot you. And just claim, oh, well, they came across the line.
I mean, they can shoot you anyway.
Yeah, I know. This is them with a heavy machinery installing these giant yellow blocks to claim this is the new border of Gaza. Yeah. Again, phenomenally dystopian. And here is from the Canary in UK, great outlet. Israel has targeted more than 270,000 victims in Gaza during the 2 years of genocide. The Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor revealed a shocking report that lays bare the genocide stats that came from Israel's war crimes against the inhabitants of Gaza. The report documents the killing, injury, or arrest of more than 270,000, or nearly 12% of the Strip's population.
I'd say that those are likely very conservative numbers.
Yeah, I agree. According to the report, the number of martyrs reached about 75,000 Palestinians, including 21,000 children, 13,000 women, 90% of them civilians. The scale of the devastation is staggering. The different numbers thrown around. I keep bringing each one of these reports to people so that they can see the different assortment of reports and numbers. The estimate that Stephen Donziger has been writing about is 500, has now hit 500,000 killed in Gaza, if you count those lost under the rubble. So these are higher than the Gaza numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry, this report here. But yeah, I just wanted to bring people another report of what the numbers could be. Okay. And also there are Jewish figures around the world that are demanding, that are calling it a genocide. And
welcome to the party.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that these people weren't already speaking out. It's just now there is a open letter with signatories. So I don't want to pretend that these people like just now spoke out. They very well may have been speaking out for a long time. Includes Daniel Levy, Michael Rosen, Naomi Klein, Jonathan Glazer, Wallace Shawn, Benjamin Moser. So anyway, apparently there are Jews. Oh, and the numbers are, where was it? Of Jews in America. Is it America? That, let's see, Washington Post poll found 61% of U.S. Jews believe Israel has committed war crimes in Gaza. 39% say it is a genocide. That's of American Jews. So anyone who tells you that, oh, the Jewish people support Israel, except for a few Looney Tunes, no, it's literally 61% say they've committed war crimes, and 39% in America say it's a fucking genocide. Those are the numbers. Sorry, what topic did you want to go to next? Or
oh no,
what do you want me to go to next?
I thought, was there more on Israel or?
That's what I had.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to remind folks that on November 18th, I have a Zoom event happening.
Are you killing apathy.simpletext?
Yep. It's called No State Solutions, and it's a conversation with Palestinian author and Professor Mohammed Bamieh, as well as Kashmiri author and professor Afed Zia, about basically decolonized futures, like legitimately decolonized futures, and the problem of the nation state as the genesis for so many of the ills that we're seeing, whether that be with occupied Palestine or indeed occupied Kashmir, Armenia, et cetera, et cetera. So all of them, my brain is not.
It's just not. Your brain is not.
It's just not.
I think all of our viewers can empathize with that.
Anyone who's ever had period brain can relate. You know what I mean?
I often feel like I'm in Elizabethan England.
So all of the money that's raised goes directly to doctors in Deir al-Balah, Gaza. So yeah. So please go to artkillingapathy.simpletix.com. That's simpletix with an X.com. And register. It's November 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it'll be a really powerful and I think necessary conversation, not just because of the topics, but also because this is a conversation that you don't hear, right? It's always like a one-state solution, a two-state solution, but like this actually speaks to the issue with the state as an entity, as a violent entity. So that's going to be a really powerful conversation.
I say 7-state solution or nothing. That's where I stand. I'm now going to give this pitch in the. You always wait till I speak to do the coughing.
Well, how can I do it while I'm talking?
Easy. You pause and you cough. No, I'm kidding. But I'm gonna now do the pitch in the more of a carnival barker, less brain fog. Dude, you guys gotta come to this Zoom event. It's gonna be incredible. It's $10 and it all goes to Gaza. Why would you not go to this thing? Like you not only do you get to hear these amazing people speak, but you also get to support Gazan doctors. The fuck, man! Sign up. Okay. ArtKillingApathy.simpletix.com.
Thanks, Carnival Barker.
You're welcome. Okay. We got time for one more. What do you want to do? What do you got over there? You want to do this?
Well, I wanted to, yes, that's fine. This is, it's not really, this is not really the point. I had a conversation with Jesse Rabinowitz this past week. It's up on projectcensored.org if you want to listen to it on there, or you can listen wherever you listen to podcasts. He works for the National Homeless Law Center. And the conversation was basically like how the unhoused are a testing ground for the most, and we kind of talked about this earlier. I'm doing another callback. You see that?
Wow.
F you, brain fog. Okay. So basically the people who have the least political power, the least social clout, are the ones that all of this gets tested on first, right? And we see this throughout history, right? It's always the
often prisoners.
Well, and that's the other point, is that, you know, the prison conditions in this country continue to get worse when you didn't think that they could get any worse, right? And this is also, of course, a problem for people on the outside. Like, even if you didn't care about the human rights of prisoners, it's a problem for people on the outside, not only because people come out of prison far more broken, even though when they went in, and they struggle to be able to exist in a society that has so clearly devalued them, that has tortured them. Recidivism rates are up like at the 80 percentile, like in 9 years after somebody leaves prison, it's like 80% likelihood of recidivism. So, I mean,
because they don't reform them at all.
No.
They just fuck up their lives.
Yeah.
And then,
people come out with extreme PTSD. People come out with extreme health problems. I mean, it's really, they're torture chambers. But this is the idea that that you use these as testing grounds for oppressive measures that you can then do to the next group of people. So the unhoused, right? We spoke about it was about 15 months ago that the Supreme Court passed Grants Pass. Johnson versus Grants Pass, I think is what it was. And it basically codified into law that you can arrest somebody for sleeping outside even when they have nowhere else to go.
Motherfuckers sleeping outside.
Jesse,
how many times do we have to tell you? Don't do that.
Jesse told me a story of a woman who was in active labor in a park, and a police ticketed her while she was in active labor instead of helping her. When I say ACAB, these are the situations that I'm talking about. And so this is the kind of thing where it's almost made okay because we are taught that people are unhoused because they fucked up, right? They did something wrong. They didn't use their bootstraps to pick themselves up, right? They're alcoholics, they're addicts, they're bad people, right? Same thing as the people in prison. Well, they're bad people, so they deserve it. But especially with the unhoused, basically everybody here is 1 or 2 emergencies away from being unhoused. And that makes us really uncomfortable, so we don't like to think about it. But the problem is when we're not thinking about it, we're also not noticing the horrific oppression that is being meted out on the unhoused. And guess who's next in line? So you should care just because there are human beings who are being tortured in this way. But even if you were a selfish asshole who only cared about yourself, you're on this list, right? And this goes for everything, you know, like trans folks and black folks and migrants and refugees. It's like everybody, all of us are on the list. It just matters like where you are on the list, because none of us here are going to be in Trump's bunker, right? None of us are invited to this ballroom he's building, okay? So I think it's really important to recognize that these and Trump has made it clear that he wants to put the unhoused in detention camps. Like, he's literally using that terminology. He wants to put the unhoused in concentration camps. So
And I think RFK Jr. said he wanted to put the mentally ill into concentration camps. So it's a lot of camps. It's gonna be very confusing to figure out who goes to which camps. It's just gonna be a shit ton of.
What camp does the camp go to?
Camp. Absolutely.
I'm really proud of that one. I shouldn't be.
Her brain's not functioning right now.
I really shouldn't be proud
remember,
of that
folks,
one, but
please,
I am.
Please remember, this is the non-functioning brain of Eleanor.
But so I think it's important to recognize not just the slippery slope, but also like our own programming at play here, right? And I'm not saying that everybody has to become like, like your first issue has to be advocating for the unhoused. But the only thing, and this is going to sound trite, it's going to sound like a fucking Hallmark card. I don't mean it to, but the only way to address the continued rise of fascism, because it's not new to this country, is to act with humanity. And that humanity cannot be meted out for people that you think are deserving of it, right? It has to be, yes, it has to apply to people who are in prison, who have fucked up and have fucked up badly. It has to apply to the unhoused. It has to apply to the people who have fallen, and because the system is so against them, have not been able to get back up. And I think that this is something that then, again, like it challenges the programming that we have in this country. And again, this is not like a kumbaya, everyone has to be your friends, whatever. This is that argument against the kind of neoliberal programming that we, again, started this show with. I am killing it on the callbacks.
Definitely got the callbacks down.
I'm leaving it there.
And just to throw in here, people might get tired of me throwing this number around, but there are 17 million empty houses in the United States. 17 million. Far more than there are unhoused folks. Even if you count the people who just have, semi-housing, like they're on someone's couch or something. Even if you count those, you could give 5 houses to every single homeless or partially homeless person in the United States. But that's not how capitalism works. Capitalism works so that the richest people in the world buy up many, many houses, barely or don't live in most of them. They save them for wealth or save them for a rainy day when they, don't we have a property? And so, it's John McCain who was asked during his campaign how many houses he owned, and he didn't know. And the answer was 12. But he didn't know that. He was unsure. He'd probably only been to 4 of them.
Look, that happens.
Oh my God, I forget the number of houses all the time. It's also like Jerry Seinfeld said. He said, oh God, I go down to my garage with my 100 cars. And yeah, I can't tell you, literally said this in an interview. I can't tell you how often I get down there and I can't remember which one I got the keys to. Oh God. And I'm like, talk about every man. I could just relate to that so much. Sometimes I walk outside, I'm like, which car could it be? Who knows? Oh God, I love Seinfeld. He's so awesome on so many political items. Is what I love. Anyway, to go back to housing, 17 million empty homes across America, and that doesn't even count just vacant spaces that could house people, such as all the empty offices we have in this fucking country because they went empty during COVID and no one's ever come back. Or because they're firing everyone and switching to AI. So now you have just empty offices flooding this country and could be used to house people that desperately need roof over their head. No, couldn't do that. That would be anti-capitalist. That would be socialist. Well, boy, it sounds like socialism seems to care about some human beings, doesn't it? That's fucked up.
Basically, nothing that you need to survive should ever be for profit.
No, we live in a post-scarcity. We live in a post-scarcity world. Every time you see scarcity, every time you see, there's not enough of this or that, that is the fault of the economic system. That's not actually the fault of the stuff in the world. We live in a post-scarcity world. We just have an economic system that is designed to put it all in the hands of the rich and very little of it in the hands of the poor. Okay. Shall we call it a day? Do you have any callbacks you want to throw in here at the end? Go get them, champ. Thank you so much.
That's my callback. Fuck neoliberalism. Fuck capitalism.
Thank you so much, Bertrus, for the donation, for supporting the show. It says, I'm worried they're going to use the same excuse to gut food stamps that they're using for medical, lie through their teeth, and say the Dems just want to give immigrants free resources. Yeah, that seems to be the trend. And of course, the Dems don't barely support these things either. They claim to stand up for them, but they largely don't, or they do it so weakly that it hardly even matters, because it's one beautiful party. It's the capitalist party. Okay, I will be back with more live streams next week. I do these 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. This one that I do with Eleanor is called Common Censored. You can look that up as a podcast. Eleanor also co-hosts Project Censored. She is the best host of all things censored. And check out the Zoom show. I also will be performing live in New York City, December 12th with John F. O'Donnell. You got to give him a warning on the woo. So I'm not saying anything important. John F. O'Donnell, that is December 12th. Tickets are at tinyurl.com/Lee Cobra Club, because it's at the Cobra Club. Lee Cobra Club. And what else? Oh, new Unredacted Tonight just aired at youtube.com/Moment of Clarity. I hope you'll go watch it. All right. Until next week, keep fighting.
Well, brother, I salute you, though, man. You're one of the few that bring together this tremendous artistic talent and still be in such deep solidarity with oppressed people.
It's an honor to be here because I'll tell you, Lee, you have one of the funniest shows on television, bar none.
It's an enormous pleasure to be here. While I was waiting, I was leafing through your wonderful book.
The same to you. I love your show. Be happy to come back anytime.
Lee, this is one of the great honors of my long career, just to be in the same earth with you.
I'm sure.
We're just so blinded. We have so many blinders on because our society doesn't want us to know things. And so it takes shows like your show, and
it is clearly designed to eradicate.
Hey, good to see you.
Hey, Jill, how are you? Julian, thanks for joining me. Honor to have you, brother.
Consumerism is a theory that people should behave this way to help each other. It's not.
Mr. George Galloway, thank you so much for joining me in these dark times.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you so much, Lee, for having me on. Keep fighting. Ha.